Welcome to the Mentally Stable-ish
Here we go again.
Welcome to the Mentally Stable-ish podcast. My name is Bradley Ball. I am joined by
Daniel Taylor.
Josh Ludeman.
Okay, so this one is having fun. Boy, did we have fun with this one. Josh showed up in a party Viking hat from a cruise. We talked about all the different ways that we have fun. What I loved was we have a lot of different ways that all of us have fun.
Spas, thermal spas to be exact.
Yeah. Oh, I'm mentally there right now. Take me away.
I would like to say I felt targeted because there was a lot of comments about aggressive fashion choices on my part, I would say. Pink flamingo commentary, my Viking helmet hat. I thought it was a wonderful choice. I was definitely in the minority of that conversation.
I mean,
Josh, maybe we're all just jealous that you live so out and proud.
just own it.
That I am just that sexy. Yeah. I could see that. Yeah.
I don't know. It's not sexy. I don't think. You know what? This is enough for the intro. I think we should just let them make their decisions for themselves on how Attack Josh felt.
Hopefully at the end of it, they'll feel a little more mentally stable. Ish.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all.
Oh, so I put on the headdress for nothing?
I know. You can't see Josh. He has what I can only describe as it looks like a Pope hat, but it is green.
Oh, no. A Viking helmet.
And it's got a shamrock on it. Well, I was going to say, and it's got blonde braids coming down each side and then Viking gold horn out of the top of there. It is a sight to behold. So we're talking about having fun. And I'm glad you wore that. You look like you're having fun.
I had fun on the cruise I took earlier this year. I was out on a cruise during St. Patrick's Day, and I figured what more ridiculous piece of headwear that I could wear.
I'm glad you brought that up. This was not your favorite experience. I absolutely love Norwegian Cruise Lines. It is one of my favorite things in the world. When I think about having fun, they have this amazing, amazing thermal spa on the Epic. Now, granted, they're changing ships that go out of Port Canaveral soon. So I'm curious to see what the next thermal spa looks like. There is no thermal spa out of Port Canaveral that I have found that is as good as the one on the Epic ship. And that's what I love more than anything. I wake up in the morning, I go in there at this massive, massive room. It's a giant hot tub. Go in there, soak, get nice and relaxed. I come out and they've got all these wonderful little water jugs with like the sliced fruit in there, and they've got tea urns. You know me, I love a good cup of Earl Grey, so I'll make an Earl Grey tea. View there is a 360-degree view. View is gorgeous. My goal is always to come back. I want to hit the thermal spa at least twice in a day.
Thermal spa? Loved it. That's where I spent most of my time.
Oh, yeah. If I could pick up that thermal spa and I could dump it in a Disney cruise, because I love Disney cruises. Food are amazing. Disney cruises, ships.
Just dump it in the house next door to mine.
Yeah.
Dump it in the house next door to mine, and I can just walk over every day.
Yeah. If you had a local thermal spa like that I could just go to daily, I would buy a membership. I'd be in there all the time. I'd love that.
Yeah, like I don't need to buy this huge extravagant mansion. I'll take a nice house, some good land around it, and enough money left over to build a small version of that thermal spa off of the house. I'm good.
I'm going to jump on the cruise thing one more time because the first cruise I ever went on was when I got married. We got married on a Disney cruise.
That was your first?
That was my first cruise ever.
Oh, wow.
And what an amazing experience that was. Because I remember there's a point in time, me and you and Gareth were in a hot tub. Our kids are swimming in the pool next to us. We got some beers. And I looked at you guys and I went, we're on a cruise in a hot tub, drinking beer with my best friends on the way to my wedding in the Bahamas. You could cut 50% of that sentence out, and any way you phrase it, it's amazing.
And for those who are listening who didn't have the blessing to meet Gareth, you know how dangerous that story just started.
Yeah.
It was me, Josh, and Gareth in a hot tub. Everybody who knows Gareth does a simultaneous face palm. Like, oh God, where's this going?
I miss him a lot.
Sorry.
But anyway, so that was my first cruise, and it was absolutely amazing. I loved it. We had family there, and you know me, I'm an extrovert. I'm a social person. I like doing things. We had excellent wine pairings and tastings. We had the different bar things, the shows. I remember they had Beauty and the Beast, and I have this memory seared in my brain that I'll never forget. Serenity was still kind of little, and she's sitting there holding a Belle doll that we bought in the Disney Cruise Shop store as we're watching Beauty and the Beast, and she hugs it extra tight as she's watching it. There's just this happy glow in my chest. as I think about that memory.
I'm a relaxed, focused vacationer. So everybody's like, yeah, I'm going to go do this. And I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this. And I'm like, yeah, you see that comfy couch over there? I'm going to go do that.
Nice.
So Dan, Niraj, how do you guys?
So I'm going to start with Prince. Dig, if you will, this picture of you and I sitting on a back porch in the mountains, looking over acres of land with cows in the background, deer prancing through the yard, a warm cup of coffee with your slippers on, light warm jacket. That is my definition of fun. And I'm really blessed to be able to do that with my family, right? I will intentionally set my alarm for 6 a.m. to get up before the sun rises, because there's nothing more beautiful than that dew, a deer or an elk across the property, Mother Nature, right? Me getting out into the wilderness, going hiking, right? That is what having fun is.
Do you have thermal baths up there? Then Josh and Brad would join you in the mountains.
No thermal baths. I got a little tub of water that I put my feet in. Yeah.
I went to high school and I went to college up the mountain
Yeah, I'd love to.
in the Western North Carolina area between Nashville and Killoy, North Carolina. And that's where you often go on vacation.
Western Carolina University.
Go Catamounts, right?
Oh, yeah. So I would also throw out living in Orlando, massive theme park fan. I love going to Disney a lot. Love going to Universal as well. I love a good theme park. But Niraj, what about you, buddy?
I mean, for me and my family, we like to explore things, right? So we try to go different countries or different states, or like in COVID, we just used to drive around different counties and just see how houses are built, or what new properties are there, or what things are around that things. I mean, I was just counting it out while we were talking on the call. We've been to like 15 different countries and 12 states in United States. So that's what it is. And I'm not a beach person. So I for me, probably if I go to a beach, probably drinking a couple of beers and just lying down might be a little exciting for probably 1 or 2 hours. And after like it's too much sun, let's go in the room or in a pool and nothing more than that. But for mountains, yes, Dan, I agree. Mountains are the best beauty. Last year I went to Banff, Canada. Oh man, that was amazing. I mean, I just love driving from morning till late nights, or a very early morning before the sun rises, and up in the mountains to see the sunrise coming up and watch the wildlife going around. That was a fun part of it. Going to countries, I mean, what I like is this year we went to Netherlands, right? My wife found out online was Tulip Festival. She's like, I want to go and see the Tulip Festival. It's only in month of April, like early spring to late spring is where it comes in. We stayed in there. We had a houseboat. I mean, Netherlands is good for all canals and that. Cycling is a big thing, so she arranged for cycles. The Airbnb guy had cycles for us. Tulip Gardens was the fun part of it.
So Niraj,
that sounds beautiful.
One of the things, Niraj, I loved from you last year was you did a Tales from the Field, Away from the Field video. Niraj did some wonderful shots of those tulips.
For COVID, we went to Iceland. Nobody goes to Iceland in a February month, but we were like, yeah, we need to see Northern Lights. Wilder than New York itself, but it was the wildest experience that I had up there. So Greece and Turkey this year in summer, and my wife already is planning for a winter break, which is Finland. Let's see how it works out.
My favorite type of vacation, as our girls have been growing up, we had a tradition, especially the last probably 5 or 6 years, where we've went with 3 other families. It's 4 families.
Oh, wow.
And we find vacation rental homes and we take it over for a week. And the nice thing is with that many families, each family takes a night. You're responsible for dinner. I'll take breakfast the entire week because of recipes I've stolen from Brad and others. They just know breakfast is more of a brunch because Josh sleeps in on vacation. We have one basic rule. The house needs to have a pool that is usable because my out of office has a GIF of a gentleman sitting on a large pink flamingo ring with the flamingo head sticking out of it.
True.
And he's just holding onto the head like a horse head and just leaning back and going, spinning in circles. It's relaxing. You're hanging out with people in the evening. We'll maybe sit around a fire, just talking, having drinks, rinse and repeat, camaraderie, and just relaxation. That I love.
And for those folks who are terrified of picturing Josh in a pink flamingo in a pool, I'm right there with you.
You should have seen me this weekend. I had my pink flamingo bathing suit shorts on.
Right on.
We recently traveled for a friend's wedding. And as my kids get older, one of the things Sue and I are focusing on, we want to do some traveling. Part of the reason that we didn't have another kid was specifically we looked at it. I'm going to be 51 when Serenity graduates high school, actually pretty young to where you've still got quality of life experience in front of you. And so we were looking at the fact that we could travel for a period of time and we could have some really nice times together. The adventure we had going up to the friend's wedding was madcap crazy, so much fun. But we loved, Josh, being able to spend so much time with you and Lisa doing that. We're very lucky. We're very blessed that we've got good friends. Y'all are part of that group. And we agreed we want to travel more with friends. We want to look at how do we plan some things together where we go on little trips. We went to Louisville, Kentucky, and we had a fantastic time. I had been there once when I was a freshman in high school for an off-Broadway production of Phantom of the Opera. They've got a great theater. I remember having a great time. They had wonderful bars, wonderful restaurants when I was there before on business. This time going, we had an even more amazing time. We got off the plane, we went to downtown, and we just found gem after gem after gem. We found this candy store that had been around since the 1920s. We found an amazing place to have burgers and drinks that got a picture of sangria that was wonderful. We just had a great time hanging out. And one of the things that we started talking about was this is one of the things we enjoy. When I look at the cruise for my wedding, the great thing was we had so many wonderful people there that we got to enjoy it with. And I think I really enjoyed that. I've loved the cruises I've got with my wife one-on-one, and it's important to have that one-on-one time with your spouse. But I also want to try and do more traveling with friends. That recharges.
So one of my friends, like a couple of years back, he told me this is how he said you should have fun, right? Our trip with one friends or family, I mean, a bigger trip, like not just your family, is one vacation that you need to take in one quarter of it. The second one should be just you and your kids. That's your one other vacation. One quarter is just you and your wife is one of them that you should really have it together. That's how he does his vacation.
We do it easy. One dinner night, and one specific family handles it every time. They do spaghetti for their dinner. They do. Even if you don't like sauce on the spaghetti, one couple specific relatives love just plain pasta with butter. So we do spaghetti one night, another night, taco night. Lay out a bunch of shells, brown up about 7 pounds of meat, go to town. The hard part about it, juggling calendars and school calendars. One of the nights for dinner, we always go out to eat, and we never go to a chain. It's always local fare. Key West, we didn't even do anything fancy. We went to Sloppy Joe's, and we walked in with 16 people, half of which were kids. During the day for an early dinner, just
all that sounds like so much fun, Josh, but you lost me when somebody didn't put sauce on their pasta.
That's my brother-in-law. He's weird. He has a weird name too. His name's Josh.
All right.
Really
It's, Josh, another Josh. That sounds so horrible.
My mother-in-law says it's really easy. Then when someone asks her who her favorite son-in-law is, she says, oh, that's easy. It's Josh.
It does sound like a lot of fun, but yeah.
One of the things that I think it's important to do as well, we talked about this in our vulnerability podcast. We talked about this in burnout as well, but I think having fun is also reaching out to other people.
Yeah.
There were some terrible, awful things that happened during COVID, but there are some moments that I kind of miss from it. We all had these little pods of people that we got together with because we're social creatures. You had to have people that you interacted with. Josh, you and our good buddy Juan and his wife and their kids, our buddy Steve and his wife. Dan, you were coming over to stuff as well. I loved having game nights where people would come over and we ended up playing this game a ton, Werewolf. Oh, I love that game so much. It is so much fun. I'll never forget though, we had a Halloween party. I went out and I got this play. It's a scenario. It's like a murder mystery room. Everybody was a different horror figure, Dracula or Frankenstein or the Wolfman, but it had up to 13 different characters. I paid for all the different scripts and somebody would pull number out of a hat. You got a script. The script contained a guilty script and an innocent script. And so everybody was supposed to read their script. The mad scientist doctor that had invited everyone over had been murdered. So everybody had different lines to deliver. And it was hilarious listening to the different people get into character, deliver their different lines. We all go around. I was playing the role of a ghost that was the ghost detective that organized the thing. We get to the end of it and we're going around and everybody's making a statement. You've got an innocent statement and a guilty statement. And we had voted on who we thought the bad person was. We had the tally, but we were like, okay, let's see if we're right. And everybody's going through. Everybody's reading the innocent paper. Well, our good friend Matt had come down from Kentucky. Matt's sitting there. Matt's the very last person to go. And it gets to Matt. And the first thing, Matt looks up at me and he goes, I don't think this is going to work out the way you think this is going to work out. And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, I'm about to read the innocent thing. And we hadn't had a guilty person because at that point in time, I was like, how crazy that Matt's going to be the guilty person and it's the last person to go. I go, what do you mean you're going to read an innocent thing? And he goes, yeah, I'm not it. And so it turns out in my infinite wisdom, I had written down letters of the alphabet, put it in a hat for everybody to be able to pick. And I just jotted them down on a piece of paper, cut it up. It's important to note, should you ever do this, use capital letters, because I said the letter I, but I had drawn it with a line and a dot. And the person who got the letter L and the person who got the letter I, my dot must have been very close to the line. They both thought they had L. So nobody had actually picked up the guilty part. And we didn't have a guilty person for that entire thing. That was probably the funniest way that could have ended.
My two memories from game night. First of all, the Among Us game night that you guys threw, that was awesome. So if you've ever played the game Among Us, you know there's multiple things you have to do. If you haven't played the game Among Us, play a couple rounds, stay in the basic map, doesn't matter. But you'll see what we mean. You have to accomplish certain tasks. And so you and Sue and the kids had stationed tasks in different places around your house where you had to do them before you were killed, which is same as the mobile game. That was fun. Number 2 was Werewolf, but your wife's infinite wisdom to invent the new rule for people who would get killed off in a game of Werewolf. Thank you to Gina for making a wonderful cake one of the first nights of Werewolf, where your wife stood up because for like I think the 4th round in a row, she was the first one to get killed in Werewolf. She goes, "That's fine with me. Dead people eat cake." And she took off and went to the kitchen. It was like a light bulb went off. We all just kind of looked around like, how come none of us have thought about this up to this point? And it became the rule going forward that even on the 50 millionth time we've played it, somebody stands up when they're the first one dead and they're like, that's okay because dead people eat cake.
I can't tell you how many times I would be like, you know what? Fuck you all. I am not the werewolf, and you're going to find out the second you kill me. But go ahead and kill me so I can go drink. Because my thing was dead people got booze.
Well, and I remember at a subsequent time we were doing a game night. We were going through, I'm going to bring this food. I'm going to bring this drink. I'm going to bring this. I'm going to bring this. And I realized, like, nobody's bringing dessert of any kind. What do we do when we die? There's like no sweets there. Dead people don't get hot dogs. They get cake, not salad.
But I was the bartender. And so the great thing was the second I was killed, I was making drinks.
Oh, yeah. You were getting a good cocktail.
Yeah. If you were dead, I would go over. I would start mixing up the drinks.
When you shake, Dan, remember you got to smile.
Right. That's right. Got to get the little cocktail thing going on. I don't know that we have to have a resolution of how we're going to go have fun. I do have a fun game night planned coming up this weekend where we're going to do an escape room, and it's a Scooby-Doo escape room over off International Drive. I'm very, very excited for this. The ladies picked it. I put out the different escape rooms, and look, to be fair to them, we haven't done it in a while.
To be fair to them, we've done plenty of geeky things. We've done like a military escape room. We've done all kinds of Star Wars or Marvel stuff as a group that it's fine, but I'm going to roll my eyes when we say Scooby-Doo. Sorry.
I'm excited for it. First off, I love Scooby-Doo. I've always enjoyed it, but also the characters are supposed to give us different clues. When I was in London last time, there was actually a place and they did escape rooms, but the escape rooms all used the Oculus. Josh, you would have loved this because the really cool thing is they had different zombie scenarios. You were going through a base, figuring out things so you could escape the zombie base, but you also had to fight off zombies. The attachment for the Oculus was on like a gun. So you could pull the trigger of the gun and it would it had recoil and all that. A long time ago, they had this place called The Zone over in Disney.
Yep.
That was amazing. They was immersive 3D.
Is that
and
what it was? It was closed by the time we moved here. Like they had just closed it when first time we went to Disney Springs after we moved to Orlando. And everybody's like, oh, you missed it. So sad.
No, you're thinking of the video game place that they used to have that they tore down for NBA. So The Zone was the place you and Gareth and I went for Gareth's last birthday, where we did the Star Wars thing.
Place. Yes, yeah. Sorry, yes.
That was incredible. And it was Star Wars and you faced off with Vader and there's a point in time I'm sitting there doing a puzzle and I realize everybody else is over there behind a blast door shooting stormtroopers. I look up and I'm like, I want to shoot stormtroopers.
Yeah, you talked to us after that. It was because the attendant walked up to at least Gareth and I and tapped us on the shoulder and goes, you can go in now that you don't have to finish the puzzle. Look, there's some over there. And Gareth and I were like, ooh, we let's go shoot people. Yes.
Forget the puzzle. I'm just going to come over here and kill stormtroopers until there's no more stormtroopers. So much fun. That place sadly went out of business. Was one of the businesses that was a victim of COVID.
Yeah, that was poor timing with COVID. Like they opened and then, oh, by the way, everything's locking down a month later. And they were like, what do we do now?
we're gonna go do Scooby Doo. We're gonna do an escape room.
Yep.
Anybody have some fun resolutions that they're gonna go do? Any fun stuff coming up?
I have a game night, but it's going to be more like board games. So
Oh,
let's
that'll
see.
be nice. I love some good board games.
We do it every month.
For me, I'm booking at least a week
Hey.
per calendar quarter.
Yeah. So
Which I got into like a year this past year before I took some time off this summer. I realized it had been like a year and a half since I took time off, and I was like, yeah, no, we can't let that happen again. So every quarter, 1 week at least.
very nice. All right. So I know Josh, Dan, and we've got a game night coming up at Uncle Buck's at the end of July.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. All right. So the
Mhm.
next time we get together, we talk about having fun. We're going to have an update. What have we done? Go have fun.
Since because there's so many things, I didn't even get to talk about concerts or video games.
Oh,
I've got the Pac-Man machine going on behind me. Yeah, video games are part of it.
we'll have to add a topic on best concert. All right, Josh, are you feeling a little more mentally
I'm feeling
stable?
a little more mentally stable-ish.
I love you all.
Love
The
you.
best. Don't tell mom.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all.